breaking the cycle, making sure young people do not fall into the same pitfalls of life. Well, that's the goal of a new program at a maximum security prison in our area, with the goal of making sure the children of those incarcerated don't also end up behind bars. Well, last night, children of inmates, they were invited to Sing Sing Prison in Ossining in Westchester County, and our Dominic Carter, he was there as well. I know you're very familiar with the program, Dominic, but they did something a little different last night.
Indeed, Richard. The bottom line is this. Society has a way of completely dehumanizing men that are in prison. And last night, as I watched them interact with their children, even I was caught off guard. These men share something in common with any other parent. Yes, they made serious mistakes in life, but like other fathers, they too want the best for their children. Face painting and pizza ruled the day. Not your local carnival, but happy times mixed with a serious life message. Even Sesame Street created a character, Alex, whose dad is in prison.
All this talk about my dad and where he is got me really upset. My dad's in jail.
Some 10 million children in the U.S. have parents who have been incarcerated. The program is all about making sure young people don't make the same mistakes. Dario Pena was convicted of second-degree murder and has been in prison for 22 years.
Our children, you know, they have a certain perception about prison, about us individuals in prison, and for many of the children in the neighborhood, they look up to us for all the wrong reasons, and they look at prison as a rite of passage to gain a reputation or respect in the neighborhood. And what we want to do is we want to show them that this is not the path that they want to take. So we want to show them, you know, two things. One, that we made a mistake in our histories, that we made bad choices and why we made them. And number two, who we are today. You know, as an example of what a person can be, what a person can do, even though they've made a mistake in their lives.
Superintendent, what is this all about?
This is about connecting the men who are incarcerated, having them look through a different lens at their children and the impact that they have on them. And so it really has an impact on how they behave, how they look at life, and it also has an impact on the children that they're not going to take the same path that their dads took to get them landed here. And it's about love, it's about trust, it's about connecting people together, and most of these guys are going to get out, and I want the kids to look up to them in a different way. Not looking up to them like, hey, I've been upstate, I went to prison. Look at Daddy, he's got his GED, he's got his college degree, he's got a vocation, and when he leaves here, he's ready to leave here and really be part of that family unit and bring those children up like he should be doing.
Basically, he's been in my life for 15 years, and the entirety of that, he's been in jail. So all of my life, he's been in jail.
So for almost all of your life, your stepdad has been in prison?
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
It's a little hard.
17-year-old Christian Roman was here with his mom, Michelle, visiting his stepfather, Hector Roman.
Obviously, he's not home, so it's like basically I can only see him like one day out of the week, and you know, it's just kind of empty. I appreciate everyone, like a lot of the associations and programs coming together to help bring this message out to the younger people, the youth, whether it's, you know, younger than 10 or about my age, because it really helps us keep on the right track and shows us that this is just a place you don't want to end up, and it helps us make better choices.
Richard, speaker after speaker has focused on the necessity for these kids to make positive choices. And while we are broadcasting from inside a state maximum security prison, it has also been somewhat emotional to watch these men with their children and, in some cases, grandchildren. Charles WYNN, who is in Sing Sing, started crying tears of joy when he saw his granddaughter interviewed on television by us, 9-year-old KALIAH WYNN from Brooklyn. These types of programs are extremely important because children of people incarcerated have alarming rates of falling through society's safety net. And KALIAH reflected on her grandfather. You love Grandpa very much?
Yes.
And are you looking forward to see Grandpa come home?
Yes.
Commissioner, you made the trip all the way down from Albany to be here tonight as it relates to this program. Clearly it's important to you.
I think it's important to reinforce when inmates come together and are a force for good. One of the things that's obvious to me as commissioner is that there are a lot of people in prison today who have done bad things, but they're not bad people. And many of them have turned their lives around, not only to bring about good in their own lives, but to bring about good in the lives of others.
But Commissioner, these are men that have committed murder, men that have committed manslaughter.
And I think what better messenger than someone that has made that mistake, that maybe the second worst mistake they did in their life was getting a gun, and the first mistake, worst one, was using that gun. And with one bullet, they destroyed 2 lives, the victim and their own life. Long-termers, lifers that give that powerful message, and I think it literally can save lives.
All this stems back in part to the highly successful Hudson Link program, which provides college education for prison inmates. No cost to taxpayers, and remarkably, only 1% of their graduates have returned to prison. Samuel Arroyo earned the first doctorate in the Hudson Link program in education, and he spent 14 years in Sing Sing. So you literally have a PhD.
I literally have a PhD. So the return on investment, right? You can't even explain that. And then I'm definitely a taxpayer, so that's crazy. Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
I'm pretty proud of myself. But it's, leading by example is pretty tough. And so I have to be mindful not just of myself, but of others.
I think even a different way to look at it is if 63% of the men and women in this country that go to prison return to prison in the first 3 years, we're not supposed to be here right now. We're supposed to be back in prison working on our second or our third sentence. We have literally taken what's happened to us, made the best of a bad situation, gotten an education, gone back to the community to actually help the communities that we once hurt, and now we're working back in the correctional facility.
I think that the work that Superintendent Capra has done here, really addressing recidivism and ways that not only can people find paths outside, successful paths outside, but that they're so successful that they never have to come back here again. I think as much as he may learn to be close with some of the guys here, he's really happy to only see them again when they come back here to help others.
There are quite a few kids that unfortunately follow in their father's footsteps and go right to prison just like Dad.
Right. Unfortunately, and that's what we're trying to break. That's what this movement's about. And it's not going to happen without the guys themselves, the inmates themselves, really being involved and realizing what an impact they are. So it's a 2-pronged process. It seems to be working. We're onto this, and we're going to stay on it.
Tom, you've done a lot with this program. This is the first time. What surprised you about what you saw last night?
To be honest with you, Richard, and I'm a little embarrassed about it, I never once thought about the fact that these men, yes, they may be hardened criminals, but that they're fathers too, and that they're kids, and that these kids need services, and these kids are very vulnerable. So to sit there last night and watch these men holding infants, it was mind-blowing. And I was a little embarrassed, to be honest with you, that I had not considered that they have children as well.
It's not like keeping them from going back in, but also making sure the family members and everyone else knows there's a better way. Great job, Dominic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, bodies of 4 young men on Long Island, and officials think that there's a notorious Central American gang behind it. A gang officials have had a remarkably difficult time bringing to justice. We'll get a live report on that straight ahead.